Let's continue for you now on In Focus here on Newsroom Africa, channel 405, with a look at more news coming out of the continent. Gunmen have abducted 136 pupils from an Islamic school in the north-central Nigerian state of Niger. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari issued a statement saying security agents are searching for about 200 students. Criminal gangs carrying out kidnappings for ransom are being blamed for a series of raids on schools and universities in northern Nigeria in recent months. More than 800 children have been abducted since December last year. Officials say that they are in contact with parents to ascertain the exact number of missing children.
Confirmed that a total of 136 students were abducted. This was followed by briefing on measures being put in place for the safe release of the abductees. Now, last update, we disclosed that government was making efforts to identify the bandits, their location through the combined effort of the security agencies. We also confirmed the government had ordered all boarding schools in the area to temporarily revert today. Perhaps the reason the bandits attacked the Islamic school. Government is now in touch with some of the parents of the kidnapped children. They have been assured of the safe return of their wards. Let me reinstate our stance not to pay any form of ransom to any criminal like called bandits.
All right, for more on this, I'm joined now by a journalist in Nigeria, Jonathan Liamgon. Jonathan, good evening, and thank you for coming through for us once again tonight here on In Focus. 14 university students and staff abducted in Kaduna Saturday, 150 students on Sunday in the government area of Rafi. The worst case this year saw 279 girls taken in Jangebe in February. Many local staff and parents now pleading for help at this particular point in time. The latest response from government, Jonathan, from the governor, Deputy Governor Ahmed Mohamed Kitso, saying we don't pay ransom to abductors. We are trying to negotiate to see how we can bring them back safely. That's the situation, although many do believe that government does pay ransom. Good evening.
I mean, you're spot on saying that. There's nothing that points to the contrary, that they do not pay ransom. We have seen a pattern. One of the things that's happened over the years is a scenario where governors in many of these states, especially the general area where you have Zamfara State, Sokoto State, Niger State, leading up to Kaduna State, one of the things those areas have in common is a very massive forested region. And many analysts have opined that these governors are the ones who gave rise to this spate of kidnappings increasing, because initially they always wanted to just give the kidnappers some hush money and try to get them to negotiate to not distort their states. If you recall, in April, there was in the same Niger State, there were a series of kidnappings that happened and abductions of students. And during that time, I remember that one of the things that a resident of the same local government where these same children have been abducted, one of the residents in the local government at the time said that they know where the forest where the abductors are. They see these abductors because sometimes some of them come into town. The government knows, the security law enforcement know, and they just wonder why they haven't gone to raid those places. Now, another curious thing is that when this attack was going to happen, the abduction was going to happen on the said day, some of the residents that have spoken to the media said that rumor actually indeed filtered into the town. Tegina is actually some town that is about, say about two hours drive. I've been there a few times. It's about 2 hours drive from the city of Kaduna, and about another hour and a half or thereabouts to the capital city of Niger State, where the state that where Tegina is. That route has been a massive area where security breaches have been witnessed for well over maybe like 5 years or more right now.
Yeah.
So it didn't come as a surprise. But what has actually been the surprising thing in this case is the situation whereby little kids, some of the people, the pupils of that Islamic school that were abducted, you wouldn't believe it, Tabo, but they are as young, as little as 5 years old.
Sure.
So this really changes the dynamics from what has been witnessed in previous cases. Many observers are asking and wondering, why little kids? The average age is between 5 to 7. A family had about 4 of their children been taken and aged between 5 to 7. You just wonder, what really can those little kids do? How much hardship can they go through when going with these abductors, because they are famously known to take kids through very, very unbearable paths in forests.
Now, the parents, meantime, are pleading for authorities to step up efforts at this particular time to save tens of thousands of kids that have been abducted. The state itself are seemingly quite reactive here, Jonathan, in that they send in the technical teams. They mobilize them to rescue. But their efforts, for example, to place police at some of these boarding schools are not necessarily bring the required results, are they?
I mean, more of this, I'll tell you from what observers say, is it's more lip service than the actual. Because, look, a couple of years ago, after the infamous kidnappings happened, where the Chibok girls kidnapping happened many years ago, Nigeria actually started a policy called, or started a program called the Safe Schools Project. And the idea was to try and build security around schools. We're talking about nothing less than about some 6-7 years ago. And we still have people walking literally into schools and picking up over 100. We're not talking about 10, 20, over 100. Now, if you've seen a herd of cattle moving and you count 100, you can see how massive that is, let alone humans. 100 humans is not something that you just wish away. So, yes, they talk about security, but in reality, the country is really overwhelmed because of the spate of insecurity left, right, and center. In the northwest of the country, there's a lot of kidnapping happening. In the northeast of the country, there is Boko Haram that's morphed into several other things, and kidnapping happening. In the central of the country, there's a lot of kidnapping happening. In the southeast of the country, there have been a lot of spates of attacks on police stations. So there's a massive strain on the security apparatus of the country. And I think that is what most of these kidnappers have seen and are playing a long game. About a month or two ago, the governor of Niger State, which is the state where these kids were abducted, actually came out to speak to say, look, Boko Haram has hoisted its flag in his state and is demanding, or is asking for help to be able to help repel this. But there's always talk about it, that security has been beefed up, but before you know it, the next thing you hear of is another kidnapping.
Now, a Lagos-based political risk analysis firm estimating that at least $18.3 million was paid to kidnappers as ransom, mostly by families and the government between June 2011 and March 2020. I mean, that certainly raises levels of insecurity, especially amongst families, that this will come to an end anytime soon.
I mean, there you have it. The more many really have come to realize that this is a sector of an unfortunate sector in the economy, because for sure, once your teeth and skin are taken, you are in a very helpless state. All of the talk about saying ransom is not being paid is for the most part, is just rhetoric, because the loved ones of these people have been made to hear them being tortured. They have been made to hear them in the most unprintable circumstances. So it's hard not to look for money to pay. Many people speak about this as if it happens, they can wish it away. You heard what the deputy governor said, that they do not pay ransom, but it's cheap talk. Quite frankly, what we have seen is they do pay ransom behind the scene. They do negotiate with these kidnappers behind the scene, and that explains to you why this sad economy of kidnapping has really, really grown. And the more they make money, you know the other implications. The more they make money, the more they are able to acquire more sophisticated arms, the more they're able to invest in technology and expand their network, the more they're able to unleash mayhem on the populace.
Any creative ideas, any concrete ideas coming out as a way forward to deal with this security challenge in Nigeria?
One of the things that some security experts that have continued to voice out is that, look, it is important to make security to be more community-based. It's important to activate all of the mechanisms that have made traditional security enforcement to thrive. Things like when you have small communities, there's always a traditional leader in that community. There is no community of, say, about 500 people that a stranger walks in, they do not know. The thing then is not, what is missing isn't the intelligence gathering to say that, look, we have seen strange people in our community. What some of the community people have said is that even when they do make these reports known, this intelligence isn't actioned. So what is needed now is actioning the reports that come from these communities, allowing these communities to form local vigilantes with some level of training that will make it possible for them to also be able to at least repel these abductors when they come. And then you have a dispatch mechanism that allows for, within the shortest possible time, to have response that is able, because it's, quite frankly, it's impractical to say every square inch of this territory will be policed, because it's vast territory, forested, not an area that is covered by technology. And another pointer that a lot of security experts have also said is that it's important to move surveillance from physical surveillance to adopting technological measures. There's satellite imagery, there's constant monitoring that is happening, and anything that looks fishy, there should be an ability to quickly reach there and repel it. But for now, most of all of this just seems to be in the spoken arena of analysts. It appears analysts tend to know what to do more than the security operatives themselves.
How real is the fear of parents now withdrawing their children from school in the face of this growing insecurity?
That is a very clear and present fear. There are a couple of families I know who have asked their wards to stay away from school. Some schools have shut down because it's just practical. Why are you moving to school when
we unfortunately seem to have lost Jonathan Liam Gone there. That line deteriorating on us there this evening. Well, Nigerian journalist Jonathan Liam Gone tracking for us and explaining what the process has been so far in Nigeria, with another 200 children now being abducted. A concern and a rising security challenge in that country. We continue next with your headlines and what's making news here on In Focus. Stay with us.